Hey, cat fantasy fans, ready to dive into a world where whiskers, claws, and a whole lot of attitude rule the streets? Welcome to Cat Fantasy, the perfect blend of urban adventure and cat cafe management. In this game, you'll assemble a team of furry heroes to tackle the city's mysteries, all while keeping your cozy cafe thriving. From support cat girls who'll heal your team in a pinch to powerhouse DPS machines that'll claw through the toughest enemies, we've got you covered. In this video, we're breaking down the ultimate cat fantasy tier list. We'll guide you through which characters you absolutely need in your lineup and who might be better off sipping a milk latte at the cafe instead of battling on the front lines. Whether you're a new player or a seasoned cat commander, you'll get the inside scoop on the strongest and most adorable characters in the game. So grab your favorite snack, cuddle up with your kitty companion, and let's dive into the furry, fantastic world of cat fantasy. I'm quickly moving on to the video, and I'm ranking characters in cat fantasy. Before we start, if you enjoy these types of tier list videos, don't forget to like the video and subscribe. Enjoy watching.
My friends, only 0.1% of viewers subscribe. If you like this type of content, please do not forget to subscribe to the channel. Thank you in advance for your support.
The characters in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, Sunny. Alright, let's face it, not every character in cat fantasy is a star. Some of them just, well, they kind of fall flat. These are the ones you'll want to avoid, the D tier characters, the ones who are more of a burden than a blessing. We all know the struggle. You pick them up, give them a try, and you're left wondering why they even exist in the first place. Take Sunny from Teen Turn, for example. Oh, Sunny. Bless her heart. She's got the enthusiasm, sure, but when it comes to damage and support, it's like she's playing a different game entirely. You might be tempted to give her a shot because she's cute and has a sunny disposition, pun intended, but trust me, she's just not pulling her weight. You're better off leaving her on the sidelines unless you've got absolutely zero alternatives. What makes D-tier characters so frustrating isn't just their lack of power, it's that they feel like they should be better. They have these little glimpses of potential, these moments where you think, hey, maybe I've been judging them too harshly, and then, nope. Back to mediocrity. If you're serious about winning, or even just having a decent time, you'll probably want to steer clear. So, while every character has their fans, and hey, if Sunny's your favorite, more power to you, there's no denying that these D-tier choices make the game harder than it needs to be. Keep them in your roster if you're feeling adventurous, but if you want to make real progress in cat fantasy, you might want to keep these picks benched. Save yourself the headache. The characters in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, Evelina Beauty Cute and Olga Breakdown. Alright, let's cut to the chase. If you're running with C tier characters in cat fantasy, you're probably hanging on to them out of sheer habit, or maybe a tiny shred of nostalgia. Look, we've all been there. You start with what you have, they're cute, and you get a little attached, right? But let's be real, it's time to bench these starters and bring in the big guns. C tier characters are decent for beginners, but trust me, they don't have the staying power you'll need as you progress through the game. Take Evelina for example, our dear beauty cutie. She's charming, sure, and her buffs can give your team a little extra edge in the very early stages, but as you start unlocking more potent characters, her usefulness drops off faster than a cat chasing a laser pointer. She's got a few niche uses here and there, but let's face it, she's not carrying your team to victory. Then there's Olga with her breakdown ability. She's the classic case of a character that sounds better on paper than she actually performs. Don't get me wrong, lowering enemy defenses is awesome, for a while. Olga's stats are balanced, she's got decent attack and a defense, but in tougher battles, you'll find yourself craving more specialized or higher damage options. She's versatile, yes, but in a jack of all trades, master of none kind of way. C-tier characters like these can still be useful in certain situations. Maybe you need a quick defense debuff here or a minor buff there, but they're hardly game changers. They're the kind of characters you rely on in a pinch, not the ones you build strategies around, and as soon as you get better options, you'll be itching to swap them out. They're not bad, they're just furage. So if you're still using these characters mid-game, it's probably time to do some soul searching. Your team deserves better and you've got bigger challenges ahead. Save those resources for the A tier and S tier heroes who can really make a difference. Your future self will thank you, trust me. The characters in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, Minami Scarlet Wanderer, Arena 1 False Note, Haley Knight of Purification, and Ina Ghost's Companion. Alright, so let's dive into some of the underdogs of cat fantasy, the B tier characters. These are the ones that aren't exactly stealing the spotlight, but they do have a charm of their own. Sure, they're not the high flyers like the A or S tiers, but they've got enough personality and potential to make them pretty fun to play. Think of them as the unsung heroes of your early adventures in cat fantasy. They're reliable, they're dependable, and honestly, they're a solid choice if you're just starting out. So let's give them the love they deserve, shall we? First up, we've got Minami, also known as the Scarlet Wanderer. Now, don't let her B tier status fool you. Minami's a fierce little warrior. Her specialty, single target takedowns. When you need a tough opponent handled fast, Minami's your girl. With high attack stats and speed, she can zip through the battlefield like a scarlet blur, dishing out some serious pain. She's not as flashy as the big dogs, but when it comes to raw, straightforward power, Minami holds her own. Then there's Arena, whose ability, one false note, makes her an absolute wildcard. Imagine an opponent's formation, perfectly set up, and then, bam! Arena comes in with her melody and throws them into disarray. Sure, she might not pack the punch of an A tier, but the way she can mess with the enemy's rhythm can turn the tide in your favor. She's that kind of character you throw in when you need to shake things up and catch your enemies off guard. Now, let's talk about Hayley and her Knight of Purification. Hayley's all about removing those pesky debuffs that keep dragging your team down. Is she going to carry your squad to victory single-handedly? Probably not. But when you're in a pinch and need a quick way to cleanse the status effects that are ruining your day, Hayley's got your back. She's like that friend who shows up just in time with a band-aid. Not a game changer, but definitely useful in a bind. Next is Ina, and she's a bit of a sleeper pick. Her Ghost's Companion ability doesn't shine too bright on its own, but it makes everyone else on your team that much better. Think of Ina as the quiet, behind-the-scenes type who's boosting the damage of her teammates while letting them take the glory. She's the unsung MVP who makes your main attackers feel like they've had a couple of cups of coffee. A subtle but effective support. So, while these characters might not be leading your charge into the final battle, they each bring a little something unique to the table. They're dependable, quirky, and let's be real, they're still a blast to play with. Every team needs a solid B-tier cat to keep things interesting, and these are the ones that can do just that. So, if you're looking to mix up your lineup or you're new to cat fantasy, don't overlook these mid-tier heroes. They've got more to offer than you might think. The characters in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, Triss Heartfelt Mending, White Tactical Submarine, Danica Ember in the Dark, Yonkin Flying Embers, Chi Soul Lantern, Nofret Secret Visitor, and Elaine Ashen Dancer. Alright, let's dive into the perfect picks for your cat fantasy team. If you've been struggling to find that dream lineup, these A-tier characters might just be the heroes you didn't know you needed. They may not quite have the raw power of the S-tier heavyweights, but trust me, they bring plenty of claws to the fight. So let's break down why these characters are absolutely worth your time. First up, we've got Triss, the Queen of Healing with her Heartfelt Mending ability. Imagine having a healer who doesn't just patch you up, but keeps your team standing through the most brutal battles. Triss is that steady hand, always there when your health bars start dipping dangerously low. If you're into tackling those challenging, drawn-out encounters, she's the one to keep your furry friends alive and kicking. Next, let's talk about White. This cat's got tactical genius written all over her. With her Tactical Submarine ability, she can manipulate enemy movements like a chess master. White turns the battlefield into a playground, setting traps and forcing your foes into tough spots. If you love strategy and finding clever ways to outmaneuver your enemies, White's your go-to. Now, don't let her calm demeanor fool you. Danica is a flame that never goes out. Her Ember in the Dark ability keeps a constant pressure on enemies, burning them over time. It's like having a small but relentless fire that never stops smoldering. For boss fights and tanky foes, Danica is your steady burn, gradually wearing down their defenses while your other allies finish the job. On the flip side, if you want a fire starter who can take out groups fast, Yunken's Flying Embers is where the fun begins. He's your wave clearing specialist, raining down fire on clusters of enemies and making those early game grinds feel like a breeze. If crowd control is your thing, Yunkan is a solid choice. Nothing fancy, just raw fiery efficiency. Now, if you're a fan of versatility, let me introduce you to Chi. Chi's Soul Lantern is one of the most flexible abilities in the game. Need a healer? He's got you. Need someone to dish out punishment to the enemy? Chi can do that too. He's the Swiss Army knife of cat fantasy, and when you're facing unpredictable challenges, having Chi's dual support is like holding an ace up your sleeve. And for all you stealth enthusiasts out there, Nofret is an absolute must. Her Secret Visitor ability is all about sneaking past defenses and striking where it hurts. She's your go-to assassin for picking off high-priority targets. especially when the enemy thinks they're safe behind their strongest barriers. With Nofret on your side, no enemy's defenses are impossible to crack. These A-tier characters are all about reliability and balance. Each one brings something unique to the table, making them excellent picks if your S-tier dream team isn't quite complete. Choose the right mix, and you'll be clawing your way to victory in no time. The characters in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right: White Combat Mode, Anya Crown of Frost, Junpei Sunset Radiance, and Echo Sparkle Rider. Alright, let's talk about some of the absolute powerhouses in cat fantasy. If you're finding yourself stuck without S-tier heroes, don't worry, because the A-tier characters can still get the job done, and then some. Seriously, these cats may not have the flashy stats of the top tier, but they've got a whole bag of tricks up their furry little sleeves. Let's dive into what makes them so special. First up, let's chat about Triss, who I like to call the lifesaver in fur. Her ability, Heartfelt Mending, is pure magic. It's the kind of skill that keeps your team fighting long after you thought they'd be down and out. If you're facing a long, grueling boss fight, Triss will make sure you outlast anything the game throws at you. A solid healer like her can be the difference between a heartbreaking loss and a comeback victory. Then, there's White, the battlefield mastermind. Her tactical submarine skill? Oh boy, this one's a game changer. Picture this. Enemies moving exactly where you want them to, and your squad getting all the tactical advantages. White's strategic playstyle adds a whole new layer of control to your game. She's not just about damage, but about dictating the flow of combat. This is the character you want if you love turning the tables on tough opponents. Now, if you're into a character that can melt enemies down over time, then Danica is your go-to. Her Ember in the Dark ability is a slow burn masterpiece, dealing fire damage over time that chips away at even the toughest foes. It's like having a persistent little campfire, except, you know, the campfire is raging on your enemies. She's the one you want when you need to whittle down tanky opponents who just refuse to fall. But wait, Yunkin is here to make sure those early game waves don't stand a chance. With Flying Embers, he rains fire on groups of enemies, making it super easy to clear out hordes of weaker foes. Think of him as your wave clearing machine. Nothing fancy, just solid, reliable damage. And if you love that satisfying feeling of enemies dropping like dominoes, Yunkan's got you covered. Next, we have the incredibly versatile Chi. I mean, talk about a double threat. His Soul Lantern ability can either heal your allies or damage your foes, whatever the situation calls for. This kind of adaptability makes him an all-around star. Whether you're in a pinch and need a quick heal or want to drop the hammer on a stubborn enemy, Chi's got what it takes to keep the fight going in your favor. Finally, let's not forget Nofret and Elaine. Two very different but equally deadly A-tier picks. Nofret is your silent assassin, slipping past defenses to deliver brutal critical hits with Secret Visitor. If you're someone who likes to snipe priority targets out of nowhere, Nofret's your girl. On the other hand, Elaine dances through the battlefield like it's her personal stage. Her Ashen Dancer ability lets her dodge and attack simultaneously, making her a smooth blend of offense and defense, perfect for newcomers and veterans alike. So, that's a rundown of some of the best A-tier heroes in cat fantasy. They might not be top of the top, but trust me, they can easily carry you through the game's toughest challenges. If you haven't given them a shot yet, it's high time you do. The video ends here. See you in another video. Don't forget to subscribe.